Hey guys, this is Gaijin Hunter, and last night we got a blast of news, which is Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak digital event live. Now this was a pre-recorded event where they gave us a brand new trailer, walked us through the general world setting and characters that we're going to meet in Sunbreak, and this kind of kicks off the marketing campaign because they also announced that it's coming out on June 30th. That's a little bit sooner than I thought. I was afraid that it might be as late as August. So knowing that it's only like 3.5 months away is incredibly exciting. Everything they showed last night I absolutely adored. Instead of just giving you a recap, because there's so many different videos like that on YouTube from a bunch of different cool creators, I'm just going to go and give you my breakdown of the trailer, which I normally do. I'll slow-mo it and point out anything that I've seen, but I also want to just give you my general thoughts and feelings about the general story and setting and where we're going. I'm just going to run the trailer at half speed and talk over it, or maybe even slower than that, because I don't want to just constantly be stopping the video to talk. It would be really jarring. So let's jump in. So starting out, I immediately thought this was like Duramboros because of the color palette, but this derpy boy is beautiful. I love him. I hope we get like the great version of it that we can fight. That would be really nice. But it looks like Duramboros because of the color palette, but it ends up being Garangolm, which is this huge ape which has like this crust of soil around its body and vegetation and moss, and it pounds you and comes after you. It's like a mix between Kongolala, Duramboros, and Uragan or something like that, because we see some like Bracky punching going on here. We then get to see some more like Kongolala type of just slams and body slams and belly flops and stuff like that. So I kind of think this means we might see Kongolala in the game because it's so inspired from it. And if you notice, when this monster gets enraged, the screen left arm, so its right, becomes fire element and the screen right becomes water element. That is super cool because now we've got a dual element monster and of opposing elements no less. So I hope this means that it'll have more tactical type of fighting, like if you're using a specific element, you'll be wanting to go after one arm, where other players of the other element might want to go after the other. But this guy just looks like a literal romp and stomp riot. He looks fun, and the derpy goblin-like sort of gremlin monsters are just too cute. They're going to be a new mascot, I could see it now. So we get the Capcom Presents, which I love how they do the presentation on these things. Here we can see the town of Elgato. It's small, it looks like it's under construction, it's an outpost. It would not surprise me if this place doesn't expand as you continue through the game. But everything looks really compact here, very functional, which is great. We get a sneak preview of the characters who I'll be talking about after this, but there was a small clip, if you missed it, of showing a drawing from Minoto here, which I think is really funny. And we're just getting the general vibe of the place. We see that Yomogi and her cats have set up like a franchise. This is going to be like the second store for dongos. I'm hoping, and we talked about this on the podcast, that they have something like shish kebabs or something to make them feel different from Kimura. We get a really cute little cat trolley, which is carrying around goods around the town on this almost like steampunk roller coaster track. And then we get an introduction to the characters, and I just love the voice acting sounds incredibly solid. I love the design work. All the characters are aesthetically incredibly appeasing. They're very cool and unique. I like to see that the Wyverians, instead of being like, less involved and more mysterious and standoffish, they seem to be very involved this time. Here they're heavily hinting that this is the princess of the kingdom, but here she's just out in the outpost trying to do her best, which is as a guild receptionist. And yeah, this is the vibe of the city. If you notice, we do have the fires from Kimura, and that's because the blacksmith here actually went to Kimura to study from Hamon how to do their type of blacksmithing. And now we get a look at the map, and this really gives me vibes of both Iceborne, in how as you progressed it opened up into like, the starting area, the mid-tier area, and the late game area. But it also gives me vibes of like the guiding lands from Iceborne, because there's different biomes in this map. So you have like this forest section, which might be the starting one. You can transition over to this ice part of the map, which is, I don't know, maybe that's the second or the third, who knows. But there's a whole biome here. What's interesting is it looks like it's all seamless. So this map is going to be incredibly huge, I think. So we're getting the ice here thing with Luna Garon, who's a very cool looking monster up on hind legs, screaming and yelping and clawing away at the hunters. So we'll talk a little bit more about that monster afterwards. But the gameplay clips I'm seeing from this monster excite me. It doesn't seem to be too similar to everything we've seen before. We get the blood orange Bishaten. So this he's throwing explosive pine cones at you this time. So I think the whole theme is going to be nimble, fast, and hard. Here we get to see a small little sneak preview of 2 new spirit bugs that you can find. You cannot have more than 1 at a time, but they'll enhance your riding. We get a wall bang, sort of, from Iceborne, but this is in the form of a marionette spider, an endemic life that you can pick up. We get some colossal turf wars going on between the monsters, which is cool because I wasn't sure whether or not the monsters would be able to leave their specific biome, but it definitely looks like they can. So that's cool. We'll have some monsters up in the ice area going down to the forest area, down to the castle area, and stuff like that. So it's just really cool to see all this integrated. Just some new showcase of new hunter arts. I think they're not called hunter arts, silkbind attacks. So we get the dual blades. That looks very much like the Generations ultimate spiral thrust. Nice day to nighttime transition for the castle. I do see a Dragonator sticking out of the castle, so I hope that there's a siege quest. We get a much better look at these little flying butterfly things around Malzeno. And they almost look like little flying blood-sucking Giganoxes because they got little noodle-shaped mouths and stuff. It's pretty funny. But just the general aesthetic here is really nice. It's like blood flowers kind of just coming down, and Malzeno comes in. And I have to say, I think Malzeno has a much cooler design than even Magnamalo, who I thought was awesome. And the theme song is just so badass. It's so cool. Just that whole gothic Dragon's Dogma-like vibe. I just totally dig it. And it's such a contrast to the Asian theme that we got with Kimura Village, that I just love that this is all inside one game, and it's just so different and unique. And of course the logo, very beautiful. That does look like Malzeno in the logo. And I'm really happy that they didn't tease it, they just went straight out with it, which is Astalos is coming in Sunbreak. This is a fan favorite. I think everybody, whether you stand on like, okay, you like Lavinus more, you like Mizutsune more, or Gamut, I think everyone loves Astalos. And then the date, June 30th, which is just crazy. That's 3.5 months from now. Start the countdown, start counting the days, because it's going to be exciting. And remember, this is same day release between the Steam version and the Switch version. They won't be able to play together, unfortunately, and we won't have cross save, but it's really awesome that they're both going to be released at the same time. There's a deluxe edition. I love this armor. It looks so cool. But this is just a bonus DLC set of some glamour stuff that you can get. There is a pre-order bonus. It is up for pre-order now, so you can make your cat and dog look like a cat and dog, which is kind of funny. And they're also going to have stuff like Amiibo and other things that he announced. You can go online. All the news is out there. I'm not going to cover everything. But yeah, that is the overall trailer. So very exciting for an initial full actual trailer. And now I want to go and just sort of give you my in-depth thoughts about just the world, the characters, the monsters, and stuff like that. So this is the key visual for the game, which I really love. I think it, again, just whoever does the posing for these like key art and also like the event icons, they're really good. The positioning, the framing, everything is always so awesome that I kind of wish that they just had like a photo mode in the game. That would be awesome, because just, I mean, the game's gorgeous. There'd be just so many cool things to make. And I'm really surprised that we get to see, and we don't have to call her Rondine's sister anymore, but Fiorine. We actually see her in the screenshot. I don't know if that's just for, you know, dramatic key visual purposes, or whether there'll be a way that we can actually hunt with her. But I really hope we can have a way to hunt with her. That's one thing that I wanted to see in Monster Hunter for a long time, is the ability to hunt alongside some of the characters. Whether or not that's the case, I don't know. Probably not, but we could still be hopeful. Obviously, the theme between the theme is this is more like the Western take on sort of like the boogeyman type of monsters, where Kimura was more like the Japanese take on it. But there's also a very common theme I'm feeling here, which is like this idea of duality, of twins, of sisters, stuff like that. Because like we have Hinoa and Minoto, obviously. We have like the cheerful, and then we have like the more serious one. We've got Rondine and Fiorine. Obviously very different personalities. And then we even have the Y variants. We have Oboro and then Kagero. On the left and right, we see very similar, sort of running the same type of trade shops. The fact that they're using the same type of logos, he's got a single stripe underneath his logo, Obodo on the left has a double stripe, makes me think that they're related somehow. You got one who's secluded and older, one who seems younger and open, he's not having a mask on. And then you've got the cute, adorable, what are they calling her? The quest damsel. I love that term. Chiche. So Chiche is the one on the left, and I did notice that she is suspiciously the same, appears to be the same age and height as Yomogi, and we know that Yomogi didn't come from Kamura Village originally. She was brought there by, a Wyverian, so something happened in her past. She was brought to Kamura as a baby, and she was brought up there. It would not surprise me if we find out that her and Chiche are related in some way, because again, they look to be about the same age. It's a great contrast between what could be sisters. I don't know, we get someone who's more, royalty brought up in a Western environment and someone brought up more in a Japanese one. I don't know, but I'm hoping that we're going to see some interaction between these characters. Then of course we have the Smithy Mineo, I believe is how you pronounce her name, and she obviously is a dead ringer for Little Miss Forge from Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. Now, I don't think it's the same character, but again, we don't know. This could be taking place in the future, and maybe she's dyed her hair and she's gone out, because she's got pretty much an identical outfit. But I think because this is a traveling blacksmith, I mean, she's gone to Kamura to learn her art. It's very obvious that she's been in Hearth due to her goggles, which I think is a great call out to the 4th generation, which of course was like the title that made, Monster Hunter start to break through in the West. And you can see here side by side, there's some definite design call-outs between these two characters, and Little Miss Forge was just a really fun character that a lot of people enjoyed from the 4th generation. So to see any type of reference to Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate is just good, warm, fuzzy feelings. And it's not just waifu, we also have husbando. We've got Admiral Gallius, who looks awesome. I love the beard. He's younger, which is kind of nice. Usually all the generals and admirals are all older people, so it's kind of nice to see a slightly younger guy. I say slightly because he's not exactly like super young. But speaking of young, we do have the scientist Bahari, who looks to be very eccentric and interesting. So just a fun cast of really interesting characters, which was really one of the biggest strengths, I think, of Monster Hunter Rise. On the official website, I'm not going to go over everything, but there's a bunch of, official photos of like your room, the different locations, some of the arts, some of the things you can do, and so the website's definitely worth looking over. But all the screenshots I'm seeing now are just really fun. From a gameplay standpoint, I think this is just going to excel the action even more fiercer and more action oriented. So I think if you didn't like Rise for any reason, I don't think Sunbreak will probably break that mold. But this is more like doubling down and really finessing the idea of just, fast-paced action, free movement, being able to parkour up walls, and just, it's just an evolution of the combat, and I really like it, actually. It's a good contrast to the more, I want to say, slower and deliberate combat of the, like Monster Hunter World and Iceborne, but, who knows where the franchise is going. But overall, I think just from a visual direction and a setting, I think they're heading somewhere really cool. I can't wait. We're going to probably get subspecies for all the new monsters that they introduced in Rise, because that's usually how they do it. Obviously, we'll have a bunch of other returning monsters and some other surprises. Will we get more maps? I don't know. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. Like, we're going to get a whole bunch more news, I'm sure, before the game comes out. Hopefully, a demo as well. But yeah, make sure you clean up your memory card, because it's like 13 gigs or something big like that. I know that's small compared to Western games, but for Capcom, the gods of compression, like the Monster Hunter team, yeah, it's gonna be a beefy game. But I'm hyped. I don't want to ramble on for 30 minutes, even though maybe some of you guys would enjoy that. But I just wanted to give you my initial thoughts. The event happened at 11 p.m. here, so I wasn't gonna stay up till like 2 in the morning. Making a video with thoughts, but this is just my initial feelings. I'm just really excited. Anyways, let me know down in the comments below if there's anything specifically about Sunbreak you'd like to have me do a deep dive on, or to share my thoughts, or analyze, or anything like that. And I think, just let me know what you're excited about, and, we can talk about it. Anyways, I'm really excited for the next news drop. I thought this was a great first showing. Hopefully we'll get to hear from the director himself in the next one. Yeah, looking forward to it. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's been a long time since I've made a Monster Hunter video because I've just taken this kind of lull between Rise and Sunbreak to really go head deep on Final Fantasy XIV, which I've been absolutely loving, even though I put off playing it for like a decade. I will make some videos soon, hopefully, about that experience because it's been unforgettable. It's been unbelievable. But yeah, I'm going to get that all out of my system, got Elden Ring done, and going to get ready for Sunbreak. Hype train has departed, and there is no stopping it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and until next time, happy hunting.